Our next guest is what you might call an inspiration. At the age of 16, Ben Pettingill woke up one morning and realised he'd lost 98% of his vision.
But it certainly hasn't stopped him doing what he wants to. Last time we caught up with him, he was water ski racing. Have a look at this.
For me, being blind shouldn't stand in the way of doing something I love.
Alrighty, let's launch this thing, eh?
I am the first ever blind skier to ski in the Southern 80. It's scary to know that there's not a single person ever in my situation to do what I'm about to do today.
Absolutely incredible, and he's joining us now, we're pleased to say, Ben Pettingill. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
And, mate, look, we've seen the water skiing there, but you've gone from one extreme to the next. You just took on the Kokoda Track.
Yeah, I decided to go and get lost in the jungle just for a little bit of fun.
And how did it go?
It was by far the best but hardest thing I have ever done. It was incredible. It was something out of this world. It is a place like no other and an experience like no other, absolutely.
Now, I haven't walked Kokoda, but I've done a similar one called the Black Cat Track. And the thing that really stuck in my mind was quite often the path you're walking on is incredibly narrow. It's not particularly stable for where you put your feet. I was looking down at my feet the whole time. How did you manage that?
It was very, very difficult, and I have to say a massive thank you to On Track Expeditions for even being open enough to taking someone with only 2% eyesight on the Kokoda Track. But to each and every person in my team, my girlfriend Amy, the guys from On Track, and the people that I went with, they had to walk in front of me every single step of the way and describe each and every single step I took. So the terrain, whether it was a step up, how big that step was, whether it was rocky, muddy, whether it was tree roots, all of that sort of stuff they had to describe to me. And there was a few times there where one of my feet would slide off one side of the track, and only once we got to camp that night, they'd turn to me and they'd say, yeah, you know when that right foot slid off the track there? Yeah, that was a 200-metre drop, so I'm glad your porter behind you caught you. So I'm glad I couldn't see those sort of things.
yeah, maybe a blessing in disguise on that front.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you talk about doing the water skiing and Kokoda, when you first raised these ideas with your family, do they say, yep, go for it, or is there a bit of, you're going to what?
There's definitely that in the beginning, but I think by now they're starting to see that I'm never ever going to let my situation of being blind stand in the way of chasing these crazy goals and dreams. So they soon go, yeah, okay, we'll go with that and we will support you no matter what.
What about the emotions? Because doing something as physically gruelling as that, and it takes over a week, I think, the Kokoda Track. What are your emotions like at the end of each day and at the end of the experience as a whole?
Physically and mentally, it was a really, really tough and draining experience. You get to camp each night and I would just be so exhausted from, one, trying to imagine and picture every description of every step. That was probably even more tiring for me than the physical challenge, but by far it was physically challenging. Every morning we'd be up at 4:30 a.m. ready to get on track at 6 a.m. and our bodies would be tired and aching. But I think the thing that kept me going more than anything was the powerful spirit of the place over there, of the Kokoda Track, and knowing what the Australian soldiers had been through. And even though I couldn't see the terrain and I couldn't really get that full experience, the feeling that you get over there in some of the spots and at some of the battle sites was so overpowering, and that's what kept me going.
It's just incredible.
You seem like a man who won't rest on his laurels, though. Have you already got your bucket list going? What's up next?
Oh, the bucket list is always there, guys. There's always big challenges ahead, and one of those will be to return to the Southern 80 this year, and instead of skiing in the disability class for the 20-kilometre race, I'm really keen on taking on the full 80-kilometre course against all the sighted competitors, which is one of my big challenges. But one of the most fulfilling challenges that I'm super passionate about taking on and always taking on is now spreading this message of, you know what, whoever is out there, whatever they want to achieve whatever goals or dreams they have, they can do that. And being a motivational speaker, my aim and my goal is to spread that message as far and as wide as I can.
Oh, you're doing a brilliant job of it already, Ben. Thanks so much for coming on and talking to us, and we wish you all the best on whatever adventure comes up next.
Thank you very much, guys. Been a pleasure.
On you, Ben.